Hello guys, welcome back to the Football Network. It is time for the season review of my first season in charge of Oxford United. We've managed to get promoted to Sky Bet League One, which is an incredible achievement in the first season, winning the league by quite a clear margin. And today I'm joined by Sam, who is going to help me review the squad. He's going to throw some questions at me, kind of like a press conference, isn't it? Bit of a debrief.
Yeah.
But we shall see how it goes. So, what we're going to do, we're going to just look at, first of all, the squad, and we're going to do a couple of our own Football Network award ceremony. So, Player of the Year, Young Player of the Year, Signing of the Season, Goal of the Season, Best Result, Worst Result, and we'll look through kind of all the squads in a little bit of detail. So, I think first up, as you can see on the screen currently, is the highest average rating for the team throughout the season. So as you can see at the top, Callum O'Dowda with a staggering 7.36 rating, 50 appearances, 11 goals in the season. I think he got something like 14 assists. We can have a look. Yeah, no, he got 15 assists this season in all competitions, which is an incredible achievement for the 21-year-old. And he has really blossomed in this side, and he gets my Player of the Season award, and he did actually get the Oxford United Player of the Season award. Let me just scroll down here. It is somewhere about, but yeah, he got the Player of the Season, and I think it's deserved.
I think very, very much. He was an incredible player throughout the season, and I think with those kind of stats, I mean, as you said, 11 goals, 15 assists. But I was also looking at some other stats, like his dribbles, like 177 dribbles over the entirety of the campaign, with 150.
Yeah.
I believe it's 158. Let me just zoom in here. No, 156. Sorry. Just in League Two.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely staggering. That's a staggering amount of dribbles for the young kind of player that he is, because really, if you think about it, there's potential that Callum O'Dowda could become a fantastic player for the side, and possibly one of the best players in the side, if he already isn't. If you also look at his passing accuracy, 74% passing accuracy over the entire 42 games, or 44 games rather, including the two sub appearances that he played in League Two. It's, I mean, for a winger, because really in reality, when you think of possibly wingers, you think of incredible pace, great dribbling ability, potentially a great goal scoring player, but possibly not in terms of not kind of the midfield anchor with the range of passing that you might have. But then with the 74% passing, actually, that's actually better than a lot of Premier League players achieve over a season.
Yeah. I mean, he's been incredible. He's played pretty much every game, and as we were saying then, his stats have increased massively. And because of this, his agent came to me at the end of the season and wanted him to get more money. I think he was on like 500, 600 quid initially. His contract's now boosted up to 1.2k, which is very much well deserved. And he's here at the club for another 3 years, which is good to see. But yeah, he's definitely got the potential to be a key cog in this system. I mean, he was definitely this season, but going into League One and possibly into the Championship, I can imagine Callum O'Dowda sticking around with the club, and maybe even into the Premier League when we get there. But as I said, he's 21 years old, and he's got a lot of development still in him, and hopefully we can get the best out of him. But he gets my Player of the Year award for me. Signing of the Season, I mean, let's just have a look at the goals here. We've got David Faupala at the top. I mean, this season we didn't score too many goals, and it's an area that I'm looking at going on into League One, and I've changed the system slightly. You'll see in a second what system I'm planning to go with going on into League One. But as you can see, David Faupala, 22 appearances and 15 goals. And as you know, this guy was a player that came in January because we had a real shortage of players that were fit. And I thought, oh, quick, I need to get someone in. And Faupala at Man City was kind of offered to me, and I decided to take the gamble. And he's come in, and he has done fantastically well. And he gets our, golden boot within the club. 22 appearances, 15 goals, which is a truly fantastic front. And with Garcia getting the joint second with Callum O'Dowda,
I was just about
those
to say,
two
actually,
have linked up fantastically well throughout the course of the season.
I was just about to say, actually, that potential front four have done incredibly well in terms of the goals. With 11 goals for Alex Garcia and 11 for Callum O'Dowda, 10 for Kemar Roofe, and obviously the 15 for David Faupala. That is absolutely incredible. If that continues in terms of that goal scoring run, then we could potentially looking at another promotion story for you.
Yeah, I mean, Faupala and Garcia are two players that I want to bring back for next season. Whether or not, I think Garcia will play a lot, and I think Faupala will play a lot, but I do want to get more quality in the positions. I mean, I'm happy with the amount of players we've got in the squad at the moment, but it's just about turning it over and getting more quality in those in depth. So
yeah,
I want another striker up there that's going to give Faupala a bit more competition. I mean, Ryan Taylor's going to be going, hopefully, because he's on a lot of money. Hilton and Huben, can they do it in League One? It will be remain to be seen. But I do want a bit more competition up there for Faupala, and of course with Garcia. I need cover for that position as well in the number 10 spot, because a lot of the time where we're kind of putting McDonald in there sometimes, or putting Kemar Roofe in. And we obviously had our loan signing of Jordan Jones, who played a few games but didn't set the world alight. But Garcia and Faupala are definitely going to be part of the future of this club.
You got to remember, George, you've got a player already in the squad who could play that attacking midfield position as a backup. You could play Kemar Roofe, you could play Callum O'Dowda, James Roberts could play there, Danny Hilton, but you've also got the ultimate Seth Humphreys,
Yes, of course, Seth Humphreys. We'll get on to young Seth. Actually, it does say that with Seth, he plays along the midfield three, so right mid, central mid, and left mid. But I could train him one day to be that attacking midfielder.
You should.
But at the moment, Seth is remaining along that line. But as for other notable performances in the average ratings column, obviously we've got Kemar Roofe up there, Faupala, Joe West, a regen who played one game and got the winning goal, Jake Wright, the captain, playing loads of games this season, doing well. I mean, the whole first team squad, really, if you look at it like this, they have done brilliantly this season. And I'm very much excited going into the next season. There will be a few additions. I mean, Calvé is a player that I really want to keep at the club. I mean, his contract's expiring in 1 month, and he wants to commit his future to the club. So when the chance arises, I am definitely going to try and get Calvé permanently, because he has the potential to be a quality championship player as well. So Calvé is someone that I want to keep. And then it's just really kind of improving the areas we've got on the pitch and on the bench as well. So, Hewitt is a player I would like to keep. Lundstram's solid. It's just finding two people for each position, really. That's what I want to look at. As for players that are going to be leaving us, if we just quickly swap over to contracts and ones that are expiring. Obviously, we've got the players still at the club. We'll look at the players still at the club. So, Michael Collins, Danny Rose are two players that are probably going to see their contracts expire, just because they're demanding a lot of money. I've tried to go into contract talks with them, and they want £1,000 plus. And Rose and Collins have been fairly injury prone this season. And you kind of, as you progress up the leagues, you kind of need to turn over the players that haven't played as much, or hasn't done so well, or have kind of had issues with injuries, you've got to kind of move them on and then bring in players of more quality in that position. I mean, Rose has been at the club for years. Since 2007 he made his senior debut for Oxford. 28 years of age, kind of in his prime at the moment, and his prime isn't at the level that we need it to be. So unfortunately for him, he's going to be probably moving on. And same too with Collins, along with Ryan Taylor as well. And then there's a couple of like youngsters that aren't probably going to make the grade who are going to move on as well at the end of the season. But it clears the wage a bit more and gives us the opportunity to bring in some better players. And I forgot to mention actually Johnny Mullins as well. He's another guy that's on his way, because he had a bit of a falling out with myself, and he's on a lot of money as well. So those are the three players that are kind of going on getting released at the end of the season. And I know you're upset at that one because of Danny Rose.
Yes, Danny Rose, Michael Collins, Johnny Mullins. And the thing I would say about those three is, if they would take it, they'd be fantastic rotations. Like Danny Rose could be an incredible backup player for you. I mean, say if you get McDonald, say if he's out for a few months, stick Danny Rose in there. He can do a fantastic job. I mean, I know you got Kemar Roof as well, but it's always good to have
his natural positions in the central mid. But you've got Circum ahead of him. He's got youngsters like Ruffles, Humphreys, kind of, and Ashby as well, kind of above him in that respect. So Danny Rose's ability isn't too dissimilar to the others.
Sorry, I was looking at Jaden Hall. My eyesight went for a minute. I was looking at Jaden Hall and said Danny Rose, sorry, in terms of positions.
Oh, right, yeah. That's all right. Yeah, Danny Rose kind of plays... Yeah, he plays left mid, central mid, number 10, defensive mid, and left wing. But unfortunately, I want to move him on. It's time to bring in some fresh blood into the team. You can't hold on to these players forever. And, I'm looking to bring in quality replacements for the guys that are on their way. Goal of the season goes to Danny Hilton. That goal against Mansfield, you can see it on the screen now. What a banger that was. I mean, I played it at the beginning of an episode. We haven't scored a better goal since, to be honest. Fantastic strike from outside the box. A lot of our goals have kind of been team goals this season, which have been good, but that one, different class.
No, that's the thing. I was about to say this. You could say two things about that Danny Hilton goal and what that means, that there were no better goals. And you could say either that the team has been passing it around really well, some very nice team play, and scoring some very nice team goals, or you could say no one's quite got the long shot taking abilities that Danny Hilton obviously took with that goal.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised, because usually on those sort of highlights in FM, when they do that run, it's kind of like, oh, they're going to have a shot and they like blast it over. But when he took his shot, it went straight into the top left-hand corner. I was like, oh, well, that's perfectly fine. I mean, his long shots are only 10, so they're not great, but he managed to score that fantastic goal, and that takes... the golden goal. Yeah, that takes the golden goal of the season for me. And what a brilliant strike it was for Danny Hilton. And of course, he's a player that's going to have to really prove himself, make the step up into League One. I hope he does, because I really like him as a player, and I stuck with him quite a bit. Even when the fans were calling him to be dropped, I kind of stuck with him, gave him the game time. And obviously when Falpala came in, it made it a different complexion on the story. But I was really happy with Hilton and the way he played this season. And he done okay. But he's going to have to do a lot better in League One if he wants to stay at the club in the future. But I think it's probably time to move on to the under-21 squad now. and the players that it's kind of hard to talk about the under-21 squad because they came fifth in the English under-21s Group 5, so they had a whole host of different teams in their division, and Oxford came fifth. Now, youth football is something I really want to encourage at the club. That is one of the big visions going forward, and we'll go on to more of the visions in a little bit. But this team have done okay. They could do a lot better, but as for the under-18s as well, it's kind of a same old story. They came fourth in their league, which is a bit better than the under-21s, but standout performances in this one: Tim Hudson, who's a regen, with a ginger Mohican. Actually, that's the guy. He has done pretty well. He's been the standout player in the 9 appearances he's made. He scored 2 goals. Mukataru Conte. I mean, most of these players aren't going to make it into the first team. I'm going to have to rely on the regens to do that. But the potential ability of these players in this team aren't fantastic. I mean, you look here, we've got Josh Ashby and Ruffles are the standout players really in the reserve side. Ruffles has played a few games for us this season. He's made 8 appearances off the bench and 3 starts. Done okay. I quite like him as a player. He's very versatile across the midfield. Ashby's played a few games. He's made an appearance in the league and one in the FA Cup, but again, similar to Ruffles in that respect.
As you said, youth football is very, very important to the development of the club, and there's a lot of players in that youth side that have got a lot of that will have lots of opportunities to prove themselves.
Yeah.
And I think, looking at Conte, looking back at Conte again, 14 appearances with 11 goals.
Yeah,
18 of his appearances were off the bench. That's a pretty good record in terms of starts to goals. So that's you say he might not be. I believe I remember you saying that he might not be the one to make it, but there could be a few that surprise you in terms of that the youth setup.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been keeping a relatively close eye on them, but it's just kind of like you've just got to kind of look at it in the way that, are they going to do it in the top level? I'm going to try Conte out in pre-season in the games that we have, because he's on that left side. He could be back up to O'Dowda, but League One and under-21 football is a big difference. So
I think it's also
to see how he does.
I think it's also worth loaning some of the players out, like possibly your regions. Maybe loaning them out to give them some game time, give them some experience, to really attempt to make the most of their abilities and their potential abilities. Yeah. So that could be something you think about.
Yeah, with the regens, what I always like to do with them, because they're only 15, 16 years of age, unless they've got really, really good physical stats, then I will put them out on loan. But what I like to do at first is develop their physical stats for maybe a year and a half. When they're about 17, 18, then they get the chance to go out on loan, because their physicals is good enough to deal with like competitive leagues, and also they have like the kind of, they'll develop the mental attributes a lot more, and I like to kind of stick them in the team for a bit, give them, like, the key players that I have that come through on Regen Day, I put them in the first team, and then I kind of make them available for the under-21 squad, and then with that as well they get the chance to go on the bench maybe for a few games, get their appearances. Like Joe West took the opportunity fantastically well, and he'll be a player that I'd like to use a lot more. And then you look at sending players out on loan, like Seth Humphreys, for example. We'll get onto Seth Humphreys now. What I've done with him, worked on his physical stats a bit more, and then I sent him out on loan to Frickley for a month or so, made a few appearances, Was okay. Now he came back into the first team squad at the last game of the season, done pretty well, and you see he's kind of feeding them a little bit of experience on loan, and then a lot of these players are listed for loan, but it's just a matter of getting them to the right place where they're going to get enough game time and develop, and that's similar for the under 18s as well.
Indeed, yeah.
And that would be the top tip for regens, is to do that for a year and a half and then send them out on loan. A few players in here that may surprise you actually. Benji Bushell, goalkeeper. I think he's another one that's going to be going at the end of the season. Bushell ability it's not fantastic, and I've decided to give the youngster Crocombe a chance to come up to the first team because he's a better goalkeeper and he's on the bench. He's made a couple of appearances for us in the campaign, but he's there on the bench now, and Bushell's moved down and he'll be going. So I will need to bring in another goalkeeper at some point that will be good enough to kind of be on the cusp of first team and getting consistent games in the reserve team as well.
I mean, you could look at, I believe it's, hang on, let me find the thing here. You could look at Jack Stevens in the under 18s, but the question is he ready to step up to the under 18s level? Or to the under 21s level, rather?
Issue. Yeah, you've got to always consider that, because that can really kind of affect the players in a less than positive way. But yeah, Jack Stevens could be an option to go on up into that team. But yeah, it's something that I want to work on. That's the vision for the future, is to get these kids coming through the system. I'm going to try maybe look at, once the transfer window's done, at improving the youth facilities and youth recruitment, maybe increase our level as our reputation increases. We'll be able to get in better regens with the youth development side of things. But now it's time to go on to the results and looking through the competitions that we're in. So we'll look at League 2 for now, and then we will head on to the cup competition. So we only lost I think it's 3 times through the season. We drew a fair few games. I mean, here we go, we won 26, drew 17, lost 3, and we had a 37 goal difference, the best in the league. But as for the competitions and schedules and stuff, I mean, probably the best victory. I mean, we had a few decent scoring games. I mean, we beat Accrington 4-1 at home, but I think the best game has to be the game where we won the title at home against Luton, who are in second place. David Valpala grabbing both the goals. It was a sellout, 12,573 in attendance at the Kassam, and we managed to seal the title at that game just because we could seal the title. And as for the worst result, I mean, it would have to be that 3-0 thumping away at Hartlepool, who were like 22nd in the league at the time. Hartlepool thrashed us 3-0, completely outplayed, and that was at the point where we didn't have much depth in like injuries and stuff. We had a lot of issues, players coming back from injury, and it was just a shocking performance. I mean, Cheyenne Dunkley getting a 4.5 rating in that game, just terrible, just a terrible outfit, that match. But
I mean, the thing about those kind of results is it's gonna happen. There's nothing you can really do, unfortunately. It's the nature of football, especially the English lower tier leagues. It's very much it's that old cliche of anyone can beat anyone in the English leagues. You're going to get results like that, so might as well pick yourself up, figure out where it went wrong, and fix it for the next game.
Yeah, which we did, I believe. Let's just take Sky Bet League 2 again. I think after that we responded quite well. Let me just find the 3-0 defeat. Well, we drew to Portsmouth 2-2, and then we won against Carlisle 4-2. But as for the FA Cup, we went on a run. An incredible performance in the FA Cup this year, and that gave us a lot of money going on into the future. And we kind of had some decent draws. I mean, up until like the fourth round, we had some really good draws. The first round was against Worcester away. It was a 1-0 win, and then we had a second round match away at Portsmouth, which was 2-2, and then we won the return leg 1-0. And then we played Exeter at home, who were another team from our division. We won 4-2 there. And then the big one against Brighton, who were a championship team, 12,000 in attendance at the Kassam. We managed to win 2-0 there. David Falpala getting the goal for us and an own goal from Marco Amelia. And then the fifth round, and we managed to pull off a bit of an upset actually against Chelsea in that 1-1 draw at home. Big TV game. We got a lot of money from that. Kemar Roof scoring that fantastic goal past Courtois. We went 1-0 down after Williams' strike on 32 minutes and Kemar Roof's goal. I mean, this was a contender for game of the season just because of the magnitude of it and the fact that we drew to a Premier League team. In fact, the champions of England, we drew with them. And then, unfortunately, we lost the replay 4-0 away from home. But, you know, it was a fantastic run, and we'll hope to continue that into next season. And you know, you get a lot of money from it, and it's just fantastic to play in.
I mean, that's again. I'm using another the English football metaphors. It's the magic of the FA Cup. Anything can happen. I mean, Chelsea is obviously a difficult match.
It was crazy.
Chelsea is obviously it's obviously a difficult match. I mean, one of the big sides in England, such a I hate to say it, but such a squad full of quality. I mean, you take the striking options or the attacking options rather. They have at their disposal like Willian, Oscar, Hazard. In terms of just creating the chances, it's incredible. For example, I'll take for example next season, if you were to get Chelsea again, they possibly have Cuadrado back if they haven't sold him.
Yeah.
And it's going to be next season definitely going to be a lot harder because of the transfers it's going to be making.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of movement, I think. But onto the Capital One Cup. Unfortunately, this one we lost 2-0 away to MK Dons in the first round. Again, a competition that I'd like to take a bit more seriously next season because obviously our quality's improved, and you know, other teams don't take it as seriously. But it's a chance for a trophy. It's a chance for a cup run, and it's a chance to make some money. And Johnson Paint Trophy as well, a trophy that doesn't really matter to us, but we got to the second round, about the quarter-final of the Southern area. We lost 2-0 to Peterborough in the end after our 2-1 victory against Newport County. But as for the future of the club and the visions going forward, we just want to keep getting promoted. We want to get to the Premier League as quickly as possible. But that will mean, obviously, developing everything really quickly. And looking at transfers, I mean, we've got a shortlist drawn up here of... is this my shortlist? This is weird. I don't know what this is, actually. Here we go, yeah. So we've got a shortlist of players that I'm kind of considering bringing in, especially the ones that are towards the end of their contract. I mean, a striker, Lavery of Sheffield Wednesday, a player that I would like to bring in. There's a whole host of footballers here that could come in. I mean, there's also Manu Garcia is on the shortlist actually. There's a player that could possibly come in on loan. He's only on £500 a week, which is interesting.
I mean, if you want
unfortunately,
if you want a good attacking option, I mean, there's a whole host of players you could get from City due to the fact obviously they're your affiliate. You got Manu Garcia, Sinan Batici, Thierry Ambrose. You could possibly try and get Bertrand Selena. It's a massive youth squad that you could try and take advantage of.
They had a decent regen actually in there. Let me try and find him now. Value. Here we go. Eddie Vidal, valued at 1.2 million. I think we're getting a scout report soon. Yeah, we're getting a scout report soon. But Eddie Vidal, is kind of defensive midfielder / midfielder, so he could be a player that we could try and get in on loan. But there's a whole host of players that could come in. Obviously, what we want to do is try and develop the facilities at Oxford United, but I'm kind of a little bit apprehensive of doing it before the window, because I want to focus on bringing in players, and then possibly we look at developing the facilities a little bit more. But if we just take a look at them here, we've got the youth level 4, which is, I think it's the lowest level, youth level, but that can be upgraded. Below average youth facilities, below average training facilities, adequate junior coaching, average youth recruitment. So if we can improve the youth facilities and training facilities at some point, and then increase our youth level, then we'll be able to bring in higher caliber regens, hopefully, and help develop the youngsters as well. As for the staff, now, head of youth development currently is Les Taylor. Now, he's a guy that I probably would like to bring in a better head of youth development at some point. I mean, working with youngsters 16, but his other stats, determination of 11, they're the kind of things that need to be improved slightly. I mean, determination especially, because you know, more determined your regens and youth players are, then the most likely they're going to succeed going forward. So head of youth development has a massive influence on that, and the quality of coaching has been improved at Oxford. I've brought in kind of my own staff, as you can see here. Kenny Wharton, Wayne Richardson, dedicated fitness coach now, and a new goalkeeping coach in the form of Martin Taylor, who has 20 in the goalkeeper stats. So that is impressive going forward, and as I said, bringing in the right staff is very, very crucial. And finally, we'll have a little look at the finances for the season. We've made a huge amount of money, as you saw in the previous episode. This season it's just been fantastic. We're up into the millions in our overall balance now, 1.2 million from starting at just over 400k. We've made so much profit this year, and of course that means that we've got a bit of money to spend in the transfer window as well, and hopefully with a projection we should be going up. I mean, at the end of 2017-18 season we should be apparently at around 4 million, so you know, the future's looking bright for the club. Hopefully we can do get more success, maybe try and replicate the FA Cup season, try in Sky Bet League One to go up there and get promoted into the Championship straight away. But we'll have to see how it goes. Playoffs would be good. I'll definitely take the playoffs. But as you can see here, let's just take a look at the league table one last time. I mean, fantastic stuff. We finished top of the league, 95 points. Portsmouth and Luton getting the other automatic spots on 79 and 76. Plymouth, Wimbledon, Carlisle and Notts County in the playoffs, and unfortunately Wycombe and Hartlepool got relegated. And just want to quickly check in League One. Let us have a look. Are Swindon still in the division? Swindon are, so we will be playing Swindon next year. They finished 7th, 1 point away from the playoffs. So there will be a couple of big derby games in next season's videos, which I'm highly looking forward to, because we want to beat Swindon, don't we? That's the big thing here at Oxford, and if we can overtake them and get promoted, and Swindon dabbling around the relegation zones, then that would be perfect stuff. But League One is where we'll be next season, and I'm very excited for it. Are you excited, Sam? You should be.
Definitely.
You should be very, very excited. There you go. We'll just go over the player stats for League 2 quickly towards the end. Here we go. Player stats. Player overview. Here we go. So top goal scorer was Ruben Reid with 28 goals. Mikhail Smith joining him at the top with 28 as well. None of our players in there, but Callum O'Dowda at the top of the average rating with 7.4. O'Dowda again with the most player of the matches of 9. And yeah, it's just been fantastic stuff. We've had a brilliant season, a fantastic season. Alex Garcia best at hitting the target apparently, 56%. But that will probably sum it up for today's video. Thank you very much for watching. Please leave a like, comment and subscribe for next season, and we'll see you next time.